Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued like we talked about prior to.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household.
John Diddy, once the pinnacle of luxury power and influence in the entertainment industry, is now in situations that are as different from who he was decades ago. He used to be the flamboyant celebrity who walked red carpets, topped Forbes lists, and hosted extravagant parties that were attended by Hollywood's elite. However, these days, Diddy is confined to a stark, windowless cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility known for its brutal reputation. His refusal to post bail and the fact that he is incarcerated have left the world in shock and wonder how the man who had it all could have fallen so far.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecutors.
The physical changes Diddy has undergone in just a few months behind bars are nothing short of astounding. Observers have described him as being noticeably thinner, with his once vibrant appearance replaced by a gaunt, pale complexion and hair that has turned visibly grayer. This physical change is a stark contrast to the Diddy the world remembers, a larger-than-life personality who seemed untouchable. He now appears to have been deeply affected by the harsh realities of prison life. It's not just the physical toll that has people talking, though. The psychological strain seems to have robbed him of his signature charm and confidence.
And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent to proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent until proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent to proven.
His time in the Metropolitan Detention Center has not been easy. The facility is notorious for its terrible conditions, rampant violence, and lack of basic human comforts. For someone like Diddy, who had spent decades surrounded by unthinkable luxury, the adjustment has been especially harsh. Gone are the days of fine dining prepared by private chefs and evenings spent in expensive mansions. Instead, he now faces a strict daily schedule, plain meals served on plastic trays, and the constant anxiety that comes with being in a facility where safety is never guaranteed. A report claims that his fear of possible harm has even caused him to refuse the prison's meals, choosing instead to survive on packaged sweets and chips.
I'm concerned, no judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet.
A number of legal and personal issues that have plagued Diddy for years have led to the charges that now threaten to define the rest of his life. The music mogul, once regarded as a visionary entrepreneur and cultural icon, is now facing accusations that could permanently damage his legacy. The seriousness of the accusations, combined with his high-profile status, has made him a target both inside and outside the prison walls. Diddy's dramatic fall from grace has captivated the public and sparked endless speculation about the man behind the headlines.
All the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone.
The way Diddy's story exposes the harsh realities of life in the criminal justice system, particularly for someone of his caliber, is what makes it so compelling. Former inmates and advocates have described the Metropolitan Detention Center, where he is currently being held, as a place of unrelenting hardship. The facility has been beset by scandals, including allegations of corruption, unhygienic conditions, and neglect. Diddy, who is accustomed to the best of everything, has found it extremely difficult to adjust to the physical conditions and the psychological effects of being cut off from the outside world.
He could help us craft, he could build a separate jail cell, and we could keep him there. Just interesting to me that they sort of said, nope, you're going to be treated not like everybody else, but a lot like everybody else. Having money doesn't do it. So I wouldn't want to be those judges. There's sort of a no-win situation.
Judges have repeatedly denied Diddy's bail requests, citing concerns about witness tampering and flight risk. This means that Diddy will likely remain behind bars until his trial begins, which only adds to the strain he's under. Legal experts have noted that the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center could make it difficult for him to prepare for his defense, further complicating an already dire situation. Despite these difficulties, people who have seen Diddy in recent weeks insist that he remains mentally sharp and focused on his defense.
Anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
What's perhaps most striking about Diddy's current predicament is the public's reaction to it. For years, he was seen as a symbol of success, someone who had overcome adversity to become one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. But his arrest and subsequent incarceration have shattered that image, leaving many to question whether his success was built on a foundation that was far less stable than it appeared. The contrast between the man he once was and the man he has become is a powerful reminder of how quickly fortunes can change, even for someone as seemingly invincible as Diddy. Adding to the intrigue are the rumors and speculations surrounding his time, and detention reports have emerged suggesting that Diddy is deeply paranoid about his safety, fearing that his high-profile status could make him a target. Some have even speculated that his refusal to eat prison meals stems from a fear of being poisoned. While such claims remain unverified, they highlight the unique challenges faced by someone of his stature in a facility like the Metropolitan Detention Center. Unlike most inmates, Diddy's fame and wealth make him both a target and a representative, a source of fascination, adding another layer of complexity to his already difficult situation.
Every jail is bad. Some jails are worse than others. And the problem, again, is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument. That's sort
The
of
sharp contrast between Diddy's current situation and the life he led just a few months prior to his arrest has also been observed by observers. In Central Park, he was spotted having a carefree day while playing hacky sack and enjoying the sun. Today, that carefree image seems like a faraway memory. The man who once commanded rooms with his charisma and confidence now spends his days alone, struggling with the weight of his circumstances. The change is so drastic that even those closest to him have been left.
General population. And would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to, they want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did. I mean, there's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there.
As Diddy's story continues to unfold, it raises important questions about the nature of fame, power, and accountability. How does someone who seemed to have it all end up in such a dire situation? And what does his experience say about the way society treats high-profile individuals who find themselves on the wrong side of the law? These are questions that will likely continue to be debated as Diddy's legal battles play out in the months ahead. For now, all eyes remain on the man who once ruled the music industry, now facing a fight for his freedom that could determine the course of the rest of his life. The reality of Shah Diddy K's current life behind bars is nothing short of a complete reversal from the luxurious, high-profile existence he once flaunted for decades. He was the king of extravagance, the ultimate symbol of success in the music and entertainment industry. Now he finds himself confined to a cold, unforgiving facility that many describe as one of the harshest detention centers in the country. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Diddy has been held since September, is notorious for its squalid conditions and the emotional toll it takes on its inmates. But what does a day in Diddy's life look like now? And how has the man who once ruled the entertainment world been adjusting to this stark new reality?
What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot of...
Lights flash on at 6 a.m., marking the start of Diddy's daily routine, which is very different from the relaxed mornings he used to enjoy in his expansive mansions at the Metropolitan Detention Center. and prisoners are roused by the harsh clang of metal doors and the cries of guards. It's a stark contrast to the peaceful mornings he probably used to spend sipping freshly brewed coffee while looking out over his private waterfront properties. Now, his M&S is characterized by the sound of footsteps reverberating through the hallways, the smell of disinfectant, and the sight of peeling paint on the cinder block walls of his cell. Diddy's cell is about the size of a parking space and is far from the opulent living quarters he once thought of as his home. It has a narrow iron bed that is bolted to the floor, a thin mattress that provides little comfort, and a combination sink-toilet unit that hardly works. There is no soft lighting or plush bedding, only the glaring fluorescence of the overhead bulb that never quite lets him forget where he is. Personal space is non-existent. Privacy is a luxury he no longer has, and the walls surrounding him seem to close in more and more each day.
Her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Breakfast is served through a tiny slot in his cell door shortly after he wakes up. It is simple and unappetizing, consisting of powdered eggs, a slice of white bread, and a carton of milk. For someone who used to eat at five-star restaurants and enjoyed private chefs preparing gourmet meals, the adjustment has been brutal, and it is no wonder that sources have claimed he avoids eating the prison meals altogether out of fear of both their quality and the possibility of tampering. Instead, he has reportedly been relying on commissary items like chips, crackers, and instant noodles. But even those have limitations because inmates are only allowed to spend a certain amount of money every 2 weeks.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
The isolation is perhaps what's taking the greatest toll on Diddy. He's reportedly being held in the special housing unit commonly referred to as solitary confinement, where inmates are separated from the general population for their own safety or as a form of punishment. For Diddy, it's likely a mix of both. As a high-profile inmate, his fame makes him a target in the general population, where jealousy and resentment can quickly turn into violence. But solitary confinement comes with its own set of challenges. Inmates in the special housing unit are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, with just 1 hour allowed for exercise or a quick shower. That hour is spent in a small caged area that offers no real sense of freedom, just a brief change of scenery. The psychological effects of such isolation are well documented. Studies have shown that prolonged time in solitary confinement can lead to anxiety, depression, and even hallucinations for someone like Diddy, who once thrived on constant interaction and attention. The lack of social contact must feel like a punishment in itself. Gone are the days of rubbing elbows with celebrities, hosting lavish parties, and commanding the attention of millions now. His world has shrunk to the four walls of his cell, with little to distract him from the weight of his circumstances.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
The conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center make it difficult for Diddy to fully participate in his own case. Access to legal resources is limited, and communication with his attorneys is frequently restricted by the prison's rules. Even something as basic as reviewing documents or discussing strategy requires navigating a maze of bureaucracy and logistical hurdles. Despite these obstacles, Diddy's close friends and family maintain that he is focused and determined to fight the charges against him.
And that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on.
Adding to the pressure is the looming trial, which is set to begin in May of this year. The stakes couldn't be higher for Diddy, whose entire legacy hangs in the balance. If convicted, he faces the possibility of spending decades in prison, a prospect that must feel unimaginable for someone who once seemed untouchable. But even as he fights to clear his name, the court of public opinion has already begun to shift. The allegations against him have sparked a wave of controversy, with some fans standing by his side, while others express disappointment and disbelief. The public's fascination with Diddy's downfall is fueled in part by the sheer contrast between his former life And his current reality? Just months ago, he was still living the life of a billionaire, mogul, jet-setting between cities, attending exclusive events and maintaining his image as one of the most influential figures in music. Now that life feels like a distant memory replaced by the grim monotony of prison, the transformation is so dramatic that it has left even his most loyal supporters questioning how it all went so wrong.
It's on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
The intrigue has only been heightened by rumors and speculation regarding Diddy's time in prison. Reports indicate that he has grown increasingly paranoid, fearing for his safety at every turn. Some inmates have described the Metropolitan Detention Center as a place where anything can happen, and where even the guards can't always be trusted. This sense of vulnerability is a far cry from the confidence and control Diddy once exuded in the past. He was the ultimate power player, a man who seemed to have everything figured out, but in prison, that power means nothing. He is just another inmate, subject to the same rules and restrictions as everyone else. It's a humbling experience that has reportedly left him reeling as he comes to terms with his new reality.
Significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Although other inmates received small goodie bags full of snacks and treats, those in the special housing unit were reportedly excluded, further emphasizing their SE separation from the rest of the prison population. Diddy, who once celebrated the holidays with lavish parties and gifts, must have found the contrast particularly acute this year, as inmates in solitary confinement often face even greater isolation during the holiday season due to visiting hours being restricted and the already limited opportunities for social interaction becoming nearly non-existent.
Expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
As the months drag on, the question remains, how will Diddy emerge from this experience? And what will his life look like when it's all over? Will he be able to reclaim his position as one of the most influential figures in entertainment? Or has his fall from grace permanently changed the way the world sees him? These are questions that only time will answer. But one thing is certain, the man who entered the Metropolitan Detention Center is not the same man who will eventually leave it. For now, Diddy's focus remains on his legal battle and the fight to restore his freedom. His attorneys have vowed to continue challenging the charges against him, and his supporters remain hopeful that he will one day clear his name. But as he navigates the harsh realities of life behind bars, it's clear that the road ahead will be anything but easy. The once unshakable mogul now faces the greatest challenge of his life, one that will test not only his resilience, but also his ability to adapt to a world that no longer bends to his will. As Diddy's journey through the legal system continues to unfold, viewers are left with a multitude of questions and speculations. How do you think Diddy's high-profile status has influenced his treatment within the criminal justice system? And do you believe his experiences in the Metropolitan Detention Center will forever alter his public persona and legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity updates and insights. Until next time, stay tuned.